Yes, indeed, we are here, and we are of a mass number actually here, patiently waiting while you figure out what service we can provide for you today. So, yes, how and who can we support you with today?
Well, I just want to go ahead and thank you for your support today. I am going to um, let's go ahead and start out with Nostradamus. Let's talk to his higher self right this second.
Mhm. Okay, yes, hello. It is an advanced master, an ascended master that is coming in to say, yes, I am the higher self of the one you call Nostradamus.
Okay, thank you so much for coming in today. Could you give me a little insight into what is happening between Nostradamus currently and the learning of connecting through Joe with people in history?
Okay, so yes, there are versions of him and his timeline that is tapping into the state of her being tapped into others. And so he has been quite intrigued. So he is seeking her out while he is in a meditative state, while she is in this current state. And so he is learning through her vicariously. And so each time he has had some time for himself to be able to explore different realms and different dimensions and different conversations. He has tapped into her energy field to be able to learn vicariously. So he is actually being eavesdropping in many conversations just because he wants to then be able to find the signature energies of the certain beings that have been talked through this vessel. So it is, he is very curious and he is saying, I could be considered mischievous, but I have not come in to cause any claim, uh, any issues or dramas or problems. I have kept to myself and I have merely observed and I have been taking notes and understanding. And I have then used this as an access leverage point to be able to connect to my to these beings that you have talked to directly himself. And so he is seeking and searching for uh, the people in history to be able to do more further research for himself, knowing that he is now able to get almost like a direct number. You would assume because of who he is, he could connect out to anyone and everyone through his mediumship. And yes, that's technically possible, but he is liking to have this direct dial, this 2 degrees of separation versus him seeking out these presidents, for example, in history himself. He actually likes to have this direct connection with this vessel, connecting in with others to guide him through. So it's giving him confirmation that what he got from who he could see in the future being the presidents of the United States, for example. It's just confirmation for him that he was a right all along. So it's again, he has been using this vessel as confirmation for his own connections and gifts, remembering he still uses tools to help him, which is advancing and expanding his consciousness. And at times he is still relying on those heavily, and it is confusing and almost muddying some of the information. So he is trying to wean himself off believing that he needs these plant medicines, and he's trying hard to take these stepping stones and expansion of his consciousness without the aid of these other tools. So he is wanting a direct connection to important people in history. And he has been able to tap into each time that this vessel is in this state. He is finding it helpful. And he is saying, well, if you want to compare my methods to Dolores's methods, she was using people too. And he is saying he does not see that there is anything ethically wrong with it. And he knows that he has access because he is with honor and intention of integrity.
Okay, thank you so much. What I understand that he is learning and using this tool. You, as his higher self, what would you say us on this side should be using his inquiries? Does this make sense?
He is not able truly to be able to dictate who you connect with as such, but he is very interested in it. So he is inspiring and encouraging the people who are making these decisions. But it's a team. From this perspective, all your higher selves are pushing you in the right direction. So it is actually myself, his higher self, that is encouraging the connections. It's all the high dimensional beings are actually organizing a lot for you to experience. And so, and for the people who are listening to these sessions, it's a team collaboration effort. While the people asking the questions and calling in the beings think, oh, this is my idea, I'm curious to talk to so and so. The reality is it's a collaboration of higher advanced beings that think it's very cute that you still think that you have free will. Of course you do, but it is like a blind date that we have already made. So we hope that's answered your question.
Yes, it did. Thank you so much for that. Let's go ahead. I'm going to thank you for coming in today. And can we go ahead and call in the collective?
Absolutely. And I just want to say thank you very much. It did feel strange that for the vehicle to think that Nostradamus was dictating who was coming through. So she wanted clarification, but she did get a very strong sense that he was still lingering around somehow. And she wanted to understand how he was influencing. And he is not truly influencing, he as such. He is merely observing and experiencing along with. And he needs to have confirmation still for his own growth. And he is still very human. And so he did need a lot of reassurance and confirmation. And he is successfully gaining that through experiencing these sessions. So thank you for allowing this. And it's so great that the vehicle is so open, because if she was worried about having people prying while she's in this state, she would block down lots. And many people have problems and worries that they are able to tap into negative, and so they don't try. And this has never once occurred truly to this vessel. There was one time where she had a brief flitter of a concern, and that was when she was writing down, calling on Lucifer, because she did not understand or know who he was at that point, and this was a very long time ago. And so we want to say that she has been open to so much, and this is why she is a very good vessel, and this is why many beings want to come through, because of the service she can provide.
We definitely love the lessons. So thank you for the guidance.
Mhm. Thank you. Thank you for supporting humanity through this.
Thank you. Mm, do we have the collective with us?
Yes, we are also here supporting it all because we are part of the beings that are helping all these connections and matchmaking of information and making sure that the right people are listening to this information and the right people are being connected into these. So this is not just the two of you or a group of you that are working on who should come in next and what's the most appropriate thing. There is many beings that are of service, making sure this is more the most appropriate for all. So we keep putting these people's we keep putting your questions in your minds. We keep prompting you to ask these things and to think about these things. And we just hope that you notice and that it is using your free will to do what we encourage you to explore more, not just for your own personal growth, but for the many that will be listening.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for that. Well, what's in my mind right now, I'd like to talk about timeline. How is our timeline looking at this point in time?
Absolutely. We
Mhm.
understand it looks like you're going so slowly, you might as well be going backwards. But the reality is you're going very fast. And the people who are needing to be awake are awakened, and the people that need to be asleep are still asleep. And we are just fine tuning the people who are still stuck in triggered fear and still not empowering themselves. So we are opening up a lot of people's throats, a lot of people's confidence, and pushing people to deal with conflict in a very mature, non emotional way that is empowering them to have these experiences because they have no way to escape them. And then this will empower them to realize, oh gosh, I did this. I overcome that hurdle. My goodness, this would have been so much challenging for me prior to any of my inner work. And so then this is going to inspire them to now start with bravery, look at their inner childhood, their past, the things that are still sticking, the things that I do not want to deal with, and be able to, with confidence, know that they can easily reflect back and be able to process things with ease and grace.
Thank you. Thank you for that. Let's do trying to think what my
We'd like to add in while you are pondering your next question, that the mainstream media actually now is doing a lot of our work, and it may sound bizarre because many people have believed that the mainstream media is only spreading more fear, and those who are looking will start noticing there are actually more articles now that actually have some truth in them, and that if you were seeking and looking, this would, you'll notice that we are now using, and we have often been using, the mainstream media to be of service to us. We have put so much inconsistencies in there to really waken people up and notice uh, how one fear-based topic can actually have different versions and perspectives, and we are trying to purposely confuse people, and you are getting in one day in a news cycle two completely opposing conversations. And this is purposeful. This is to make people start stopping and questioning the information they are so diligently, blindly accepting and consuming. So we're wanting to say we have been busy planting the seeds for that, and confusing people who are writing these articles to not see how they are going against the mainstream narrative and producing other content without them even being aware that they are contradicting another article. And so it is all purposeful, but we wanted to say we've been busy doing that. And this is all great. This is all great from our perspective, because it's so long now since the lockdowns, and you are now noticing there is a lot more conversations that are distracting, more important conversations that are keeping people in the new fear and worry. You are hearing about water, a lot of conversations about clean water and the importance of water. And this is also us. This is also us reminding you all to drink your water and to notice and respect the quality of your water, knowing that the people who are worried about the quality of your water are very aware of all the nonsense that has been put into your water in the past. So it's not suddenly a new thing that they've discovered. Oh goodness, you say what now? There is bad toxic water. Gosh, you don't say. We want you to say that this is a distraction and a part of the awakening, to be able to make people realize who has been responsible for the water, who has been part of polluting the water, holding back the water, purifying the water, and also being considerate of other countries that have not such good infrastructures of the water. Remembering, we would like you all to consider all cultures, all societies, and all countries, because we understand that when you just focus on what you have in your daily life, you may forget that water is a very sacred, very rare source for many. And most of you who are speaking to now, even though you do have some contaminants in your water, the water that you do have is much better quality than most. And we want you to keep reminding yourselves that what you do have, you must be grateful for, and stop limiting yourself with a belief or with the assumption that everyone has the access of the things that you do. You are all so blessed. You're all so special, and you all have so much more than most. And we do not want you to feel guilty about that at all. We want you to respect that everyone is living out their life contracts and experiences as they want to. But we do know that there are people listening right now who still don't have profound gratitude for everything that they are blessed to have, including running water in their home.
Thank you for that reminder, that great lesson, a great life lesson. Do like trying to think of the next question I would like to ponder on here. Going forward, is aside from the outside information that we kind of get all the time from everywhere, and loving ourselves, is there any other recommendations you have to I don't know if it's find a specialty in this journey that we have going forward? Do we have almost like specialties on this journey?
Yes. The question you're wanting to know is why are the people listening to these sessions unique and special and privileged to listen to this content? And you're wanting to know if there is a purpose there, if this is just random collection of people, or if this is an important group of beings who have a special mission. Is this correct?
Yes.
Yes, absolutely. And yes, absolutely. It always has been the case that the most appropriate people who need to listen to this information will and always will. And they may have to go away and grow a little bit and come back and listen to it again and be mature with their approaches and understanding of this work and information. people are treating it as if it is ego-based information. And while some of it has been through the, we want to say, when you're connecting into an individual, say like the gentleman of Nostradamus, you can connect into his conscious mind. And so therefore you get ego. So many people have had to learn how to understand and accept this information and this work, because they are applying it as if it's any other normal conversation from an ego-based being. And they are still having to have doubt over the information and process that and learn from that. Everyone who is still listening to these conversations with these higher dimensional beings that we are, they are having to overcome a lot of their own preconceived notions of information that they believe is already the truth. And so we are challenging them and triggering them a lot with our vision and our perspective of what is actually going down on there, what is actually going on down there. And we are saying this because we are at a higher perspective. We are not on your planet. We are merely observing and protecting and witnessing the events on your planet from a bigger perspective. We can see, and this will not be pleasing for you to hear, but we can see the patterns of the normal human behavior that is very predictable. And that is the one thing that we can rely on the most, is the predictability of the humans and how they react to things. There is a small, broad range of reactions that we can already predict. So we are merely watching and supporting humanity at this time, knowing that the evolution jump is very soon for your perspective of experiencing time. And so there is a lot that people have to accept and understand and comprehend when they're listening to these sessions. We don't know if it's ever been spelt out so clearly to the listeners of who we are and why we are and what we are doing and how we view you. And we understand that we do not try to mock you or belittle you while you're in your perspective. But we are trying to support you and advise you and encourage you to be able to make the most out of your experience. And so this can be very triggering for many when people don't want to do their own inner work, when people have belief systems because they've heard something else from someone else and they don't like the conflict of our information versus another human. It is very sweet that humans support humans when you're gossiping about us or the truth that's happening on your planet. And that is fine, because you all need to support each other and be in fear together and try and solve the mysteries of the universe together. And that is commendable. The reality is that is not really most of your life purposes or contracts to be doing that. And so we are here supporting you, guiding you, encouraging you, nudging you. You are extensions of us, as the lower extensions of us. And this will trigger you potentially of those big ego beings that want to feel like they're so smarty pants. The reality is you are having a human experience in 3D, and it is not possible for you to have the bigger perspective that we have naturally, because different advantage points, different experiences. We are learning from you, and you are learning from us. There is a beautiful balance there, and we are of service to you when we can help you. And we are not so triggered with emotion, because we are void of emotion, as we are simply noticing your choices that you're making. And humanity is making choices collectively together. There is a lot that we could say from our vantage point. But just like a kid at a candy store, you get so excited, Erica, asking questions that you don't know which one to ask first. So you get in a muddle, and it's a blockage. You have such a brilliant mind, but you keep constantly having to weigh up the relevance and significance and importance of each question simultaneously, and you have 100 different questions for us and you don't know which one to ask the most, so you stumble and fumble over it because you know the significance of us and know that we could give you precision information that would help you see things from a different perspective that you almost can get yourself. And so we also say, like any child in a candy store, being the loving, supportive companions, even though you're wanting all of the candy and you want to consume it right now, we know that it's not good for your health, and we know that it is not possible for one sweetheart little being to consume all of them or to have them. It is not of your best interest. You would get very unwell, and we literally are here of service to keep you growing and flourishing and being encouraged to be inspired with life and to feel that you can master it without us smothering you, and without us punishing you.
Thank you for that. um, my next question that has come to my mind is, um, what is one's truth?
Yes, your truth is everything you've experienced and settled with, and feel that it resonates with you in your moral compass. Your experiences are your truth, your reactions are your truth, and your truth moving forward is to be able to navigate easily with grace, to shift into the next dimension, to be able to experience that advanced evolution step. You are the man on Everest, shall we say, that wants to barefooted conquer Everest. You're very diligent. You're very headstrong, though, and you do not feel that you need any extra tools or any companions to climb Everest, because it's redundant. You don't need support, even though you would like it. You don't need anything. You just need to be able to master and to take that journey to get to that destination. You sprint up that hill. You see it as a hill. Many people see it as an obstacle that is too big. You do not seem to have the same perspective. You do not see anything as impossible. You see things as challenges that excite you. Your truth. What is your truth? Your truth is yours and yours alone. And you respect other people's truths, but you also know what is their false truths. And many people own their false truths as if it is their truth. And this is of great service to them, because false truths have lack of accountability, and no responsibility. And there is people who do not want to own their inner work, and so their false truths are my education or my location or my demographic, or there will be some excuse somehow to justify them not being able to do their inner work. We've got off topic because we are talking about dozens of people that are in your life who have been holding on to their false truths. And so to be able to be true to oneself is an incredible journey on its own, because you are having to see all of the rawness and all of the dimples, all of the scars, all of the leaps and the bounds and the growth in every obstacle that you've ever experienced. And you have to be able to have it in perfect balance and harmony and respecting everything that has ever happened to you to be able to get to this point in time and to be able to see it as a blessing, a perfect blessing. And when we say perfect, we mean our perfect, which is challenging, triggering, hard, exhausting, thrilling, passionate, exciting. Perfect is not your perfect, it is our perfect. And you're experiencing something that is perfect, which could be beyond challenging and hard and horrible and sad and tragic, but it is perfect for that experience of all of these emotions. And so we see everyone at perfect situations, but it is not always happy. It is not always perfect, how you perceive perfect. It's always the most appropriate experiences that you're having, that you're given to be able to have the opportunity to experience. We understand we have totally got off topic from what you were trying to ascertain as your truth.
It was beautifully said. What the lesson that was just talked about. I'm grateful for the tangent. And you answered. It was just, what is one's truth, and you answered it very well. That I feel like. But on the same topic as truth, can truths change?
As you evolve, yes, your truth, your today's truth may not be your tomorrow's truth. Today, your favorite ice cream flavor may be vanilla, and then you evolve because you've indulged too much in the vanilla, and tomorrow your hokey pokey or your chocolate chip may be your favorite. And so that's your truth. Yesterday, your truth was your favorite flavor was one, and today is different. And we want to say that as you evolve and expand and grow, your truths do the same.
Thank you. Thank you for that. Do you have any messages for us right this minute, this timeline that we're at right now?
Everything must expand. Everything must expand and explore all of the expansions with growth. And when you're growing with your emotions and your maturity and your perspective, expect the pains of expansion. Think of yourself as a balloon that just keeps getting bigger and bigger and bigger. It will never pop, but you'll get to that point where you're just about to expand even more and you feel like, oh my gosh, this is it, I am going to explode, I can't possibly get any bigger. And then you have this other big growth spurt and oh my gosh, here I am and I'm getting bigger. We often like to use the analogy of fat pants, just for the giggles of it, because we know many people giggle at the thought of being comfortable and happy in your evolution of wearing more fat pants and being very comfortable with it. And so we've chosen to be a bit mature with this approach and saying that you are a balloon of expansion. And so some people worry that they will start losing their growth and start getting smaller and smaller and smaller. But we're saying when you start worrying that you're becoming smaller, it is never smaller. You cannot devolve at this stage of the game. You are merely just pausing. And so you're just plateauing and you get so used to being that size of that balloon. You think, oh gosh, am I shrinking now? Oh, darn it. I don't feel like I'm growing. I must be shrinking, because doubt and worry and fear kick in. But we want to say to you that you just keep expanding more and more and more. And when you have those worries that you are failing or going backwards or just, I'm stuck, or oh gosh, darn it, I'm back in 3D again, if my life, then we're saying, no, don't worry about that. And if you worry about that more and more and more, potentially you could get stuck again. But we're saying when you keep focusing on the bigger perspective of things, when you keep questioning, what is the lessons here? What is the purpose here? Why am I experiencing this? Why Why do I feel these feelings today and I was not feeling them yesterday? When you're constantly asking yourself questions, you will get the clarifications, and you must be able to honor and respect your intuition. You must be very masterful at your intuition now, because it is you guiding you. And it's really the extensions of you, the higher dimensional beings that you are connected to, that are your guides and your support team, your backup dancers in the spiritual world. And they love to think of themselves as being your backup dancers. So remember that you are not ever alone. And when you are realizing that you are an ever expansive balloon, and you are allowed to keep filling yourself up with high vibrations, we want you to think of yourself now as a helium balloon, and you are just so light and expanding, and you're just leaving the 3D dimensional dramas now and the worries, and you are graduated, not just one of those water balloons, those tiny little ones. You are now a very big, advanced, big, beautiful helium balloon, and you just naturally, with grace and joy, float above the earth. There is no problems there, and you just keep expanding, 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 and you just feel so much joy having much more expansion. Remembering that everything that you have put into that balloon is experiences. And we do not, as you know, say that there is a good or bad experiences. There is just experiences, and those experiences add into the content of your balloon, growing you and growing you and growing you. And there is just beautiful balance and harmony there when you keep understanding and not putting any emotional attachments to any of those experiences as bad or good. Stop your labels. Your labels do not serve you, and they do not serve those experiences, because remembering what we say is a perfect experience could be a horrible, hard lesson to learn. So when you are saying, oh, that was horrible, that was a horrible time, horrible, stop that and put it as a perspective of, that was a very hard, challenging situation I had, but I learned from it, and I understand, I've experienced that. And remembering right now, manifestation is on point. And if you keep manifesting fear and saying, oh, my whole life I've been so unlucky, I have been so unlucky, and I have just had horrible experiences, I had the most worst childhood ever. Well, guess what? You're going to keep manifesting that negativity, and all of your lives have been challenging, and it is on purpose for you to grow and experience it. They were all gifts for experiencing an expansion. So we hope we have clarified that for the people who are still wanting to hold on to some challenges that they still feel like they need more support recovering from, because they did not get external support, so they still need to hold on to it. And we say, if you cannot release anything from your past, it is time for you to look at it, and to you to love and heal yourself, and know the experiences to know the emotional range of those experiences that you were supposed to feel and understand from. Those pains, those hardships were something that you needed to experience then, to master, to never have experienced again in a different format. And so this is the reason why you must do your inner work, so they don't repeat themselves, because they will, because your higher self will make you try and force yourself to learn them, because that is what you have signed up for. Your life contracts. You don't just get one shot to master something. You will have to keep repeating it many times if you don't master it. So this is why we're saying quickly learn from them if you're tired of experiencing them, using your free will. So we hope that we are not mansplaining the situation to you, but we are wanting to help those who keep wondering why the cycle of their lives and the dramas of their lives and the challenges of their lives keep repeating. And we're saying it's because you're not learning from them. And sometimes the way you just need to learn from something is observing and asking, what is the purpose here? What was the lesson? Why? What was I having to overcome? What was I having to see as a bigger perspective, and accept and understand? And we understand that when something really challenging and tragic has happened to you and you can't possibly see that there is a good from the experience, we've never said there's always going to be good from experiences, because there is no good or bad. It is an experience. Accept that experience, honor your feelings of that experience, but don't let that experience and that past block you or limit you from living and growing and expanding and having more experiences. When you keep repeating the cycles, or when you keep feeling triggered by one event in your life, you're not able to put that aside and unpack that correctly to be able to then be able to have new experiences. When you're reliving something over and over again, you are keeping yourself busy and distracted from new experiences. There, we think we've finally been able to get that out correctly for you.
Um, yes, it sounds I love this lesson. I do have I would like a clarification on a thought. Um, are triggers just like another level? Like it's just another level to this whole evolution?
Mm. Triggers are still the ego being challenged to accept something and have it as a different perspective. You're triggered by emotions, and then you're wanting to react to those emotions. So before you get to react, figure out why this is a triggering thing, and then be able to take it back one step, or when the first time you felt that way, or what does this trigger remind you of? Is this a cycle that is happening that you are going to then instantly repeat again and again and again with your reactions? So yes, every time you get triggered is an opportunity from the universe to be able to change your reactions to break a cycle. And the triggers are getting much more exaggerated now to force you with love to be able to stop and look at why you are being triggered and question, what is the purpose here? What am I supposed to learn from it? And ultimately, you are being triggered because you're not dealing with something with unconditional love. Your ego is coming in and your pride is kicking in, and there is a lot of things that are happening. Your insecurities are showing. You're in a work is coming to the surface where you're being triggered because you don't have full belief and profound love of self. So there is amazing lessons when you are triggered, and they are the universe highlighting a weakness, where you could build a bridge and be able to fill up that gap and to overcome it.
Thank you. Are are others able to learn from others' triggers? Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm. If you're a whole group of you being triggered at the same time, yes. Or if you were hearing about someone else's trigger, you can have empathy to be able to put yourself in that position, to be able to vicariously sort of, it's the difference between eating the 3 kilos or 3 liters of an ice cream, or having one of those little sample spoons where you're like, oh, I'll see what this vanilla chocolate chip tastes like, versus you have it coming out of your pores because you're indulging and you're drowning in that amount of ice cream, which would not be recommended. It is way too much ice cream for one person to consume in one sitting, but we find it amusing that someone would try. And that is what you are doing when you are being triggered. You are marinating yourself in one flavor of drama so profoundly. Many people have imprint lives where you can experience and learn from that life without actually living it, but you have the imprint. And we say that supporting someone through their own triggers while you're staying in neutrality, while you're observing and noticing the behaviors, yes, you are learning from it. But if you're not being triggered along with that person, it is not your growth. You've already either mastered it, or you are not able to apply it to your own life and experiences. For you, uh, well, we'll just say if you're not money focused and someone loses money, they will be highly triggered. Whereas you go and think, well, that would not bother me. But you are learning how that other person works, you're learning their what they value. And so you're learning something quite different. You're learning more about them and how they are responding and reacting versus them being triggered off the loss of the money. And so there is opportunity for growth, of course, because it's a new experience and it's a new thing for you to notice and witness and explore. You could try and put yourself in their shoes and feel the loss of the money, but because that's not an issue for you, it's not a trigger point for you, it's not insecurity for you, you don't have financial insecurities to the level that the other person does, you cannot relate to it. It is almost, we think we have applied many analogies to explain it. Would you like us to continue further?
No, it was well put together answer. I'm grateful for it. Thank you so much for that. If you have no more messages for us right now, I'm actually going to call in Trump's higher self and talk to him for a few minutes.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Yes, the higher self is here. She is here to acknowledge her role with that icon in your history.
Okay. Can I go ahead and ask what's currently going on within the timeline that you're on?
Okay. Me, myself, is the higher self or the extension of myself, which is that man.
The extension of yourself, please.
Okay. So there is a needing of balance, the frustration of others with different work ethics. There is a lot of expansion and experiences. There is a lot of reflective questions. There is a lot going on, more so than the ordinary person. Extremely busy, self-reflective, and trying to figure out how to best honor humanity.
Okay. Are we let me rephrase that. Are you looking at do you still have multiple different pathways to take, or are those pathways or timelines that you're looking at more clear for you, more defined?
It doesn't matter what timelines he takes in terms of how he will respond and react. His work ethics, his personality, everything about him is going to be unchanged. His truth is always going to be his truth. He's quite evolved with that. And so he is still going to remain the same consistently, regardless of what path humanity's timeline shifts to and navigates forward.
Okay, thank you so much for that. Are um, is his clone still coming in, or his 3D self is mainly what we see currently?
Sorry, can you repeat the first part of it?
Does at one point we had heard about a clone coming in
Oh.
and doing a couple roles for him. Do we currently still see a clone? Is there currently still a clone in this timeline? Or do we just see him?
We still see that there is the usage of some clones. We see that there is two and the original. And we see that they are not in high use as much as they were needing to be. They are backups for any events that need to occur. We say that the original is the one we were speaking of with reflection. It is still a complicated play that he is involved with. And there is much that he wants desperately out more than ever before. But it is still, his integrity and his moral compass is still in high diligence. And now he is having to question that. Now he is having to say, was my game plan with high honor and integrity the best moving forward when everyone else seems so corrupt? And while he is saying everyone else, he is not meaning every single other person, but the majority. And it is interesting for him to realize and feel so alone almost that the most of the people that he thought he could rely on, who were going to be of integrity, whose moral compasses were so fixed and firm that he could rely on them. He is realizing now that people are vulnerable, people's insecurities, people's fears of death, people's fear of being held accountable for truth scares them so much. Um, it is so much for him to take in, and there is such good that he is around. There is high integrity, and he is not alone at all by any stretch of the imagination. But there was more he was expecting on, and this is hard when you are fighting with high integrity to push your agenda and your focus and your wish and hope for humanity. And when you do not feel like you are a special super being, when you just feel like you're just one man and you just have the responsibility of a family and a country and humanity, and he doesn't truly have 100% confidence in himself, he is still human. He is still a man. He doesn't have, while he does have ego, he is still human. And humans, while we say are perfect for being human, they are still flawed because of their doubt and their traumas and triggers and worries. And there is a lot going on for that man because he is questioning everything, even though he would not change anything, and even though he wants to make sure that his strength continues. He is not assuming anything. He is double, triple questioning every step and every move that he has made to make sure that he is comfortable with his moral compass. And now he has started to open up his mindset and wondering, should he have gone in a different approach? Now knowing what he knows. And hindsight is an incredible gift, but he did not have it as he was moving forward. He has always been a human who has got a spiritual team, who he is connected and he is supported and guided, like you all are. He does not have superhero powers. He is still a human, and he still has self-doubt.
Thank you for that. Uh, is he, even though he sees these not negative things, but these things that he wishes were, these people, these things he wish would have stepped up. Is he in this moment or um, will he be able to see the true power of the people, of his mission that he has been working so hard to?
Yes, he does feel supported, and while he is reflective on the hindsight of the information he knows now, he still is proud and happy of his path and of his journey. So he doesn't have, while he is reflective, he is making sure he still is comfortable with his reactions. He will see many things unfold, but he already knows that many people know what he knows, and so he understands that the enormous amount of information and content that he knows. He also understands that the average person who is not aware of this information, it would be hard to hear. And so he is also having to struggle with wanting to give messages to people who are awake, that content without disturbing and triggering and offending those people who are not ready for the information. He is very sensitive to not offending and upsetting the people who are not ready for it. He has always had that integrity. He has never wanted to really be blunt and brash with the information. He has been sharing his information, but he has not done it in such a blatant way that it could really trigger a lot. And this has frustrated his followers because they want him to say the information he knows. But he actually has compassion and consideration for those who are not ready for the information. And his approach and maturity with that is of honor and dignity and should be respected, because just because you have the gossip of the truth doesn't mean that you are licensed to be able to share that. We understand the difference between someone who's a hot gossip and can't keep a secret versus someone who knows that the information that they have is so significant. Not everyone should know it until they are ready. And when they are ready, they will find the breadcrumbs of information, shall we say. And he has done that with great integrity. And those people who are frustrated that he hasn't blurted out all his gossip and all his secrets and all the other stuff he knows, they are not seeing things from, we want to say, mature perspective of considering all. And if you already know the content and the information, why do you need him to tell you? Why do you need him to tell it to everyone else? You're making him then in an uncomfortable position, expecting that he should be red pilling humanity. And that is not anyone's role, and it's not his. And he knows his place. He knows he has said more than others, and it is up to individual people to seek out the information and the truth themselves. He is not going to be used in that way, because even what he does say with his own truth gets twisted and manipulated. You are all supposed to be responsible for finding out your own research and information and resonate what's the truth and not get stuck in fear and the drama of things. So he is a leader, but he is not the leader of your demands and needs for him to do and disclose the things that you already know. There is a fine line here. Remembering these are very sensitive topics. And if you're not telling the world what you're expecting of him, why would you expect that of him?
Thank you. I love that. I think at this point, I'm going to go ahead and um, can we just send a lot of love and light to him in this time, in this wonderful, beautiful time that we are living.
Absolutely, absolutely. And he is accepting it and respecting it, and he has got gratitude for it. He is on his own path and mission. He is part of helping humanity awaken. He is not the sole person for that, because everyone's responsible for that ultimately. But he would like you all to know that he has replayed everything that he has done to make sure that he is honorable with integrity, sharing his truth the best that he could, while still nurturing and supporting people in their own journeys. And he is saying to you all, have you done the same?
Thank you. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. He is honoring. He is honoring everyone who has still had faith and belief in him, because he has always been trying the best he can while being human to have the best integrity. And he thanks deeply the people who have still had faith in him, because he has always had faith in humanity.
Okay, we go ahead and have Joe back, please.
My goodness. How do you feel? Was it good?
Yes. The recording still on?
I'll stop the recording and then gossip about that.